Okay.
There you go.
Okay, Bill, I appreciate it. I want to call this meeting to order. This is the Building Membership Council Governing Committee meeting of June 23rd, 2021. We do have a quorum. I want to welcome you all to the meeting. I want to take an opportunity here at the beginning to recognize any of our board of directors or any of our special guests, allow them opportunity to say hey to everybody and share a little bit of what's happening in their neck of the woods, or their wisdom or their encouragement with us. And so, having said that, I will start with the board of directors. Any of you on the line, please share a moment with us. Let us know how things are going.
Thank you, Dan. Ron Hampton from Kentucky.
Hey, Kentucky. Hey, Ron.
Good to be here. Listen to the good work that's happening. You all get the GR reports and the emails the same as I do. We've selected a committee for the IECC Standard Committee, and Building Safety Month was a success. A lot of it was virtual, some of it was in person. I think we had 232 proclamations, which was down just a little bit. We've got Pittsburgh coming up soon, and hopefully we'll get to see everybody there. But just glad to be here. Listen to the good work and support you as much as we can. Thank you, Bill. That's what I was looking for earlier. So as you can see with what Bill posted up here, we had a big virtual turnout. A lot of views and impressions that was hit on. So, you know, it's success, a little different, but that's all right. Thank you all for being here.
Ron, thank you. And while Bill has got this up, we were going to cover this a little bit later and raise the profile, but since Director Hampton brought it up, I want you to just look at these numbers. 1,968 media placements, 610 downloads of the Pulse podcast, 4,000 Building Safety Month video views and shares. Global partners, and that's always a big thing. Guys, we're reaching out across the world. We're shaking hands with people. We're making new partners, new friends, and we're sharing building safety. To me, it is absolutely marvelous. 52,000 e-blast recipients, 22,000 plus page views, 232 proclamations. To me, those numbers are staggering, but it's also, while a welcome benchmark and encouragement for us to remember that Building Safety Month formally comes only once a year. But for us, Building Safety Month is every single month of every single year. It's just
Amen.
We choose a month to share it with the public, and we need to go all out, helping the public understand what we do, why we do it, what our impact on their community, the one we share with them, is. With that, I'll hush. Don't get me started. Any other directors on board that'd like to share a word with us?
Mr. Dockery, it's Jim Sayers.
Howdy.
Just to add a couple of things. The board will be meeting in July in Boston, so looking forward to having a face-to-face meeting for the first time in 19 months. You know, I may not recognize some of those people, but no,
well,
really looking forward
since
to
Bozo
that.
shared his beard, maybe not.
Yeah, true. The awards committee has met and come up with our slate of awards. There's going to be some really good ones out there you folks will be interested in. Can't share yet, but I'm excited to have people learn what those are. Other than that, you know, just happy to be here and happy to see y'all.
Well, it's good to see you too, Jim. Director Sayers, we appreciate you being here. And as always, thanks a bunch for all you do. And thanks a bunch for being one of us and letting us be one of you. It's a good deal, and we're proud of it. Who else? Any other? I thought I saw Mike on here.
Yeah, I'm here. You got me now. I kept getting kicked out. Just glad everything you guys are doing is awesome. can't wait to get together at the conference in Pittsburgh. And if you guys ever need anything, reach out to any of the board members. You know, we're here to help you too, along with the GR staff. So thanks a lot. I'm glad to be here.
Thanks, Mike. Director Boso, appreciate it. We really do. And Bill, I can't see all the attendees on my screen. Do we have any of our other board of directors members on the call?
I do not see anybody, but I'm not going to call them out if they don't want to speak. No, I don't see
Okay,
anybody.
that's cool. And any of our ICC staff on the call that'd like to speak, other than Rick. Rick, I'm not gonna let you talk yet. I'm gonna wait just a minute because I'm gonna ask you for a couple words here in a short moment. Okay. Hearing none. Any other special guest? Anybody visiting who would like a word with us? It's a quiet crowd. Everybody wants to get outside and enjoy the pretty weather. I know what's going on, and it's okay, guys. I'll take it. I understand. Moving on past number one, number two, Bill, would you do the roll call for us?
Sure. Thanks, Dan. Let's see. So I have, just for the sake of getting through this, I have Dan Dockery, Ed Lasinski, Matt Archer, Audrey Klein, all present. Audrey, are you still? Yep, Audrey's with us still. Doug Maples is not with us. We've chatted about that. Mark Matheny, we know, is not here. Chris McWhite. Hi, Chris, I see you. Yeah.
Hey now, how you all doing?
Mike Metcalf. Mike, I see Mike. Yeah.
I'm with you.
Steve Nordhughes. Steve is not here. Amarinda Singh. Amarinda, I see you there.
Here.
Thank you, Amarinda. Martin Van Gundy.
I'm here.
Hello, Martin. Jim Willamette.
I am here, sir. Thank you.
And Doug Wise. I don't see Doug unless he's popped in. Okay. I have Ron Hampton, Mike Boso, Jim Sayers. Any other board of directors join us since I don't think so. And staff, I have Rick Hoffey and looks like Mark Roberts is with us. Anybody else that I missed?
Tim Schmitz is out there too.
Yep, Bill, I'm hanging out here.
All right, I'll mark you as president and accountant.
I know how it's easy to skip over, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's
He's way down there at the bottom, and he just covers states like Wisconsin, so nobody pays attention to him. But I love you, Tim.
Thank you very much, Bill. I'll get you later.
No worries. Yes, that's it. Any other registered guests that care to be identified now, please speak up. If not, please send me an email. Many of you get my emails. I ask you to, if you look at the top of the agenda today, if you would like to be included as a registered guest on today's meeting and or receive the minutes from today's meeting and previous meetings and any other special emails that we send out, please send me an email directly and I will make sure that gets noted. But if you'd like to speak now, I would say speak now or forever hold your peace.
Hearing no one, we got a quorum. We're going to move on to announcements. Does anybody see anything that would be a change or an adjustment to the agenda that Bill mailed out prior to this meeting? I didn't think so, but just wanted to say that for formal. Now we'll move to the good part. Number 4, and I'm extremely pleased that in order to kind of spur communication and cross-pollinate ideas with people, BMC's made an earnest commitment to share what's happening in our building safety world with all of our members and all of our attendees at this. And it's going to pay dividends, I hope, in the long run, but it's certainly going to introduce us to one another in ways that we didn't expect before. We're extremely excited this time to have David Jackson with us. And David's going to talk to us a little bit about some of the things that he does, what his goals are. I hope what it means to him to be a code official and some of the challenges he's faced becoming a code professional in his own community. But before David gets on there, just by way of thanks, I'd like Rick Hoffey to do the introduction and give us a little bit of a prologue for this, because Rick, we do really, really appreciate you bringing David into our world here and letting us know what he's out there and what he's doing. And our way of saying thanks to you is to give you the microphone now. Rick?
Well, I hope you don't regret that there, Dan. I just am so honored to be able to address the Building Membership Council and to introduce your guest. He is a Marine. Once a Marine, always a Marine. He's an enrolled member of the Gila River Indian community. He's in his earlier mid-30s. And he, when he returned from active service, he came back home and enrolled in the very unique apprenticeship program that the community has nurtured over the years. A tremendous stepping stone for careers. But I think David Jackson is a star on his own right. And I think is somebody to watch in ICC, future in this future. But I'm going to let him explain himself, and just also want to say that he's been very instrumental in the work that I've been doing up here in the Dakotas in my part of the woods, in trying to get native tribal councils to adopt international codes. And it's really difficult in this part of the country because these are among the poorest counties in the United States. And but they want to succeed, and they really want to try. And there's a lot of good people that are involved here. And David has been a real boost for them. And he's, I think his biggest contribution, and I know he'll be speaking that today, is about the empowerment that tribal governments have when they adopt and enforce the codes. They're able to shape the kinds of communities and economies that are best for them. So let me present David Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. Hoffey. As I said, my name is David Jackson. I'm an enrolled member of the Gila River Indian community. I am a Marine Corps veteran, and I've been in code enforcement for approximately 9 years. What I have found to be unique and what I have found to be a driving force in what I see as the future of code is how is code enforced in Native American communities? What Native American communities have code adoptions? What Native American communities have building safety departments? What Native American communities have community members of their own individual tribe staffing and enforcing those codes? And the reason why that interests me is because we are a sovereign nation as federally recognized tribes. And in the US, there are over 500 federally recognized tribes. Sovereign nations in their own right with their own government, responsible for providing services to their people. What I feel is something that needs to be addressed or can be given to these communities is the code adoption. The history of Native American communities is that of it's that of struggle. We're given very little and told to suffice with as much. That goes for our buildings. As a tribal sovereign nation, there tends to be quite a big issue with economic development. How do we build infrastructure? How do we build buildings? How do we maintain, pride in the facilities that we have with very little to no income? So when I started asking these questions, there weren't a lot of answers. But through the outreach, which I believe has begun with other individuals and starting to network everyone, is that there is a want and a need for what we're striving to create. The very first Native American Code Officials chapter recognized by the ICC. Why is that important? That is important because it gives a face to lend aid to those growing communities. And that's what I'm passionate about. Empowerment. I recently had a conversation with the Laguna tribe. The Laguna tribe of New Mexico is in between a rock and a hard place with adopting a code. The common struggle is that, or the understanding, or the public relations aspect is, how does code interact with the traditional values of a Native American community? Those traditional housing methods that some still live in, some still want. You know, we're talking about communities with relics up to 1,000 years. Take, for example, Hopis on their mesas and lagunas in their pueblos. This is a very unique community that's trying to adopt and modernize with Western culture. Part of that is the building code. What I'm trying to do is to share that it's not something to be afraid of, because it's heartbreaking to hear from tribe after tribe after tribe that they have been given a contract or awarded a contract to a contractor to build a facility, and they are left with substandard construction. They are not taken seriously. It's kind of like throw it up and then contractor runs away. And unfortunately, that's a time and time true story that I hear to this day. So with Gila River goes back approximately 60 years with code adoption, back to the UBC. Currently, as of approximately 2 weeks ago, we adopted the 2018 code cycle. And what I'm proud of is, more so than that, is that we are fully staffed by Native American community members. So our entire staff is members of our tribe. And that makes it unique because we are, as I say, protecting our own. We're enforcing standards to those contractors who come into our boundaries to ensure that the tribe, the community, and the people get the highest quality product. Because those sites, those buildings, those homes are multi-generational in Native American communities. Grandma, grandpa, aunts, uncles, grandchildren, all living under one roof because of the hardships. The economic development, a casino, a building, a gas station, that's revenue for the tribe. So we have to take those things very seriously. And I'm fortunately blessed with Gila River having that long history. And we are now proud to say that we are all fully ICC certified as a building department. So with that knowledge and experience, we want to share that with our sister communities to show them that there is a way to do things, that it is possible, and no, it won't come overnight. It's a growing process, and that growing process starts with adopting a code. And that's the message that we're trying to produce. Gila River, like has been previously mentioned, has an apprenticeship program. This started back with my supervisor. The apprenticeship program is a position open to community members. And that community member is then given the opportunity to learn on-the-job training and study code enforcement material to then become certified, to then become a fully independent inspector in the field. I myself went through this. We currently have our newest inspector apprentice, who is approximately 25 years old, 0 construction experience. And I want to say that as a point because we made a point to alter our job description to say 0 construction experience. We feel that the more important aspects are a willingness to learn and to empower our youth as tribal members to become proactive in their community. This individual has passed their job probation, and within that time frame, has already obtained 1 ICC certification and is on his way to his 2nd. The most exciting thing about the development is from having no construction experience and trying to relate things to him and explain things to him, he's now at a point where I can have a conversation with him about code. He can read blueprints. He can visualize details and point to them in the field. He understands terminology now. And we feel that's the biggest thing. Experience, on the job site experience, plays more so into the success of the Gila River Building Inspector Apprentice Program than anything. We looked at what made it successful for my predecessors, what didn't they like, what could have been improved upon, and we had to fight for this position because there is so much construction activity within Gila River right now. So our apprentice has exposure to tilt panel construction, a 11-story high-rise construction facility for hotel and casino, 140 residential homes, an industrial park for building aluminum fabrication, renovations and remodels of existing facilities at our outlet mall, as well as those unique struggles. And one of those unique struggles within Indian country is housing. Whether that's a substandard, barely holding 4 walls up trailer with no infrastructure or utilities, to what we call sandwich homes, which are roughly adobe buildings with no lights, power, running water. And another thing too is what we see as another avenue is sheds being converted to being livable spaces. And that's what we try to share our experience with other Native American communities, is that how do you enforce code? How do you enforce this Western philosophy within Native American communities retaining their identity? Because that's their biggest fear, that we will then have to displace some of our traditional housing methods, that it's going to cost too much to upgrade my traditional house or our cultural site or things of that nature. And that's where we're trying to inform and educate that this is for new construction. This is for creating a standard so that you are given a product that is good for you. What I'm mainly interested in right now is, because of COVID, we haven't been able to do the outreach that we wanted. I want to share what we're trying to do with the members on this meeting, so that you can provide, points of contact. If you have someone who's in your jurisdiction, if you know of a tribal community, please, send them our way. Get in talk with Mr. Hoffey and myself. We want to help these communities. I don't know if everyone saw the video that was published in the agenda, but one thing that I've tried to do with a video such as that, and I plan to do more in line with the apprenticeship, is create some sort of media presence about what it is that we do as building inspectors. Because if you Google, if you YouTube, you're not really going to find much. And if you do find something, it's not generally geared toward the younger demographic. It's not exciting. It's not engaging. It's a little dated at best. So if we're trying to appeal to a younger audience, if we're trying to get people interested in our field, I think that we need to look at the current social media culture and try to create a product that is engaging, exciting, dynamic, and will create interest. Oh, that's what they do. Oh, I didn't know that. And it's visually appealing, because that's really is what is exciting about what we do, is being in the field, in my opinion, and seeing things that will never be seen again. We are the ones who get to see things before it gets covered up and the public walks through a final product. At this time, I would like to open the floor to see if there's any questions which I can answer, because that's what I really want. I want that dialogue and I want that feedback, because again, with COVID, we're all in our narrow boxes and we can't have those meetings and outreaches. And I feel that that's what is beneficial. How can I help you, and is there something you can help me with?
The floor is open for questions. Unmute and ask your questions. And Director Hampton, I see your hand up.
Thank you, Chairman. David, Man, you sound like you're just doing great work out there. So when you adopt the code, do we exempt those existing Pueblo buildings from any existing structure requirements that may be required?
I would say that is an approach, but I'm hesitant to advocate that approach for an initial code adoption because it can be overwhelming. What I say is just adopt the code flat out. And then you, as the tribe who is enforcing it, when it comes to applying it on your traditional structures, can waive that and do it like on a case-by-case scenario. Because that's part of the conversation I had with Laguna with that very particular question, and it becomes all overwhelming. So I think we have to remember that some of these communities have zero construction experience, and you start getting into the legalese and the construction language, and it's way overwhelming. So no, you can, and we at one point did. We had a stipulation about traditional dwelling unit, but that's why it's important for, I think, Native American communities to have their own code enforcement officials, because we ourselves know the inherent struggles. We can make that judgment call. With our knowledge of the code, we can make a decision that's for the benefit of traditional values.
David, I've got a question that kind of touches on the last
You're doing
point
great
you
work.
just made. Go ahead, Director Hampton. I'm sorry. I thought somebody else was getting ready to ask a question, David.
I'm Dan. Thank you, sir. You're doing great.
Is it tougher to make people realize the expense sometimes of bringing in a code and applying a code without being able to really look at the long range benefit that we know the code always brings? Or is it tougher sometimes, and I'm speaking because I want to think about applying this to everybody, is it tougher sometimes for you to encourage people to ignore the impact that they fear will affect their culture? And I got to admit it, if anybody has a reason to have trust issues with the slogan, the government, the code, the whatever is here to help, you're right there in it, man. How do you fight that battle? Tell us what we can do to make that better, in not just in your Native American communities, but in all these communities where people look at the government with suspicion and look at anything that we bring, and whether or not we're the government, we're still seen as regulators, thereby we're the government. How do you fight that battle, David? It's got to be tough.
I take a level of pride in that, because my angle, which I share with other Native American communities, is that I'm here for the community, not for the contractor. I tell a contractor something is substandard. I tell them that something is unsafe. I show them the code section. I show them the details, why they are wrong. And it's that ability to speak up and the ability to demand a certain level of performance from a contractor that many smaller communities didn't know they were allowed to do. So it's seeing that you can have a voice to the Western ways when if the Western ways are wronging you.
Yep.
And that's really why, because that's the hard part. The hard part is if you're from the ICC, kind of showing a young community this product, this ICC code, and you're telling them that it's gonna help you and save you, it can come off as one-dimensional. But what I come from a different angle and saying, and I talked to that individual and I talked to that community member, and I was like, when's enough enough? You're telling these stories of how you were dealt this bad product as far as construction. When is enough enough? How this is a tool to empower you, to give you a voice, to demand that your contractor deliver a product. It's not to burden your people. It's not to stifle growth. It's to give you a voice. That's what it is. It's not legislation, although it is in the form of legislation. It's not a set of standards and criterias that are just out there in the ether that only certain select masters know about the language. It's an empowerment tool. It's an empowerment tool. And it just takes one step. That first step is adopting it. You're not going to go from 0 to 100 miles an hour and have a fully staffed, building safety department, because that in itself can be overwhelming too. Well, we're rural, we're isolated. How are we going to do this? And those questions start to come up, and you just got to take a breather. You just have to slow it down, and you just have to show them that this is an empowerment tool. And that's kind of the angle I approach, and I feel that really resonates with more people.
I think that's a great attitude. Actually, I hadn't thought of it specifically from that way, but the empowerment kind of gives you that ownership in your community. You already have it, but it allows you to use it. And it also allows you to make things better for you and your community. You've got experience, you've got expertise, you've got knowledge, and you have put all that together and sort of made yourself, even though not just your face, but your profile, your actions become the face of code enforcement in your community. And that sets a great precedence, and it gives people, I'm sure, a whole lot of reassurance that you're working on their behalf and for them. And I applaud you. I'm going to hush and let Ed Lisinski, your hand was up first. Go ahead.
Oh, no, Christopher McWhite's was up before mine, so I'll bow to Chris next here.
I appreciate that. Very gracious, Ed. It's funny. Dan actually asked the same question. One of the things I wanted to do was to since the question was essentially asked, was to offer congratulations. What I see you doing is you are providing an opportunity for not only self-representation, because you cannot, and so you are actually recruiting from within people to do the code and building code compliance within the nation. I think a lot of people tend to forget that these actually are sovereign nations. It's not just a piece of land that's been deeded. So, but what I was also curious, if you could kind of talk maybe just a little bit more, how you were able to communicate such complex code to people who have been working with legacy codes, UBC, I think you mentioned, for so many years, and to jump into the 2018 codes. Can you talk a little bit about which of the codes have been adopted and to the people within the nation?
So I apologize. I know you're kind of breaking up, but if the question is, what codes have Gila River has adopted, and how do we kind of convey that technical literature to someone new. So for Gila River, our first code adoption goes back to approximately 1960, with the 1967 version of the UBC. I think I printed it out because I thought it'd be cool to have a copy. And then it goes up to the 2000 IBC, to 2006, to the 2012, to the 2018. And that's kind of what I tell people too, is that I say that not to like in a bragging way. I say that as that it's a journey. It took Gila River a journey to learn and evolve and continually improve upon itself, to get to the point where we have this apprenticeship, where we have community members staffing our building safety department. And like myself, coming from a military background, I had no construction experience. And that's what I think helps be able to relate to someone new, like an apprentice or a new community. I know exactly where you're coming from. I know exactly what you're talking about, or where your head might be at when you're talking about code. I remember buying my first IBC book for my test off of eBay and reading it and not knowing one definition or word in it. I had a book right here. I had Google open on this computer window. And as I would read down, I would Google words to figure out what exactly this code section was talking about. And that's why I always try to take a step back when talking with other communities, because I have to imagine that they're probably in that same position that I was. So if a team is trying to approach an organization about adopting, there are certain roles that everyone plays, and my role is to sympathize or remember what it was like to be that junior, that newbie into this field, because that's where they're at. That is where they're at. You have to understand that they probably don't know the language they're lingual. So you have to break it down to the very most essential element. And to me, from the Native American point of view, it's empowerment. It's that has to be pushed upon the people. It's not about, oh, the sprinklers in this code cycle are going to save your insurance on this building X amount of dollars, and from that technical perspective, or the R value on your exterior walls with this code cycle is going to do this for you. To me, that conversation will come in the future. But let's not push away and dissuade people from adopting it, because it's more of a people tool. It's more of an empowerment tool. It's more about a sovereignty tool. It's more about an enforcement tool. It's and the benefits of that, the technical benefits, will come down the road. So that's how I think it benefits, is that even now we're continually growing. We're continually growing because we want to, go wireless, create, better standard operating procedures, all these things. But we have to remember what it was like when we had no computers, when we were isolated within our community from the surrounding jurisdiction, and we were all people coming with little or no construction experience. You have to remember that. And I think that's what sometimes we forget, is that, this industry is filled with a lot of veterans, seasoned construction veterans. And I know with the emerging leaders that they're trying to bring the youth and the young adults into this field. And you hear these stories about, women being pushed to the side because they didn't have the construction experience of this, 15-year carpenter, master electrician, that type of thing. But yet they don't work out as an inspector. So what is it that means more? What is it that means more in the inspector? I think is a drive. It's a drive, and it's a willingness to learn. All the tech, again, even with the code adoption and even with the inspector's conduct, it's more than just a book. It's more than just a technical resource. It's almost like saying, it's going to sound a little corny, but like code is a way of life. Like you feel like this is something you're passionate about that can empower you as an individual to be proactive in your community. Take it down to the root, and I feel that's the success.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Ed?
Yeah, thanks, Dan. And I know we're a little over on time here, but I think this is a fantastic conversation and topic. And I know you don't mind going over a little bit on this then. So, but I get two questions for you. I guess the first one, really just, I guess, who are your contractors? I guess, who do you normally see? And I guess that's just sort of my own ignorance of what happens on a reservation. But I mean, is it mostly Native American people who are doing the work there, or do you get more outsiders coming in?
For Gila River in particular, it's pretty much all outside contractors with a typical bid process. So,
are there any challenges with that then? I guess, did you ever get the contractors kind of come in there that just say, you know what, I've worked everywhere else. I know these codes better than you guys. You guys are just adopting these. You don't know what you're talking about. Do you ever get that kind of pushback from them then on that?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I say that I'm gonna use language, and by no means do I mean it to be offensive, but yeah, you have people who come to our community who think we're backwards Indians, like we're just nobodies, like we don't know what we're talking about, or that they can come out to the reservation and have free reign and just slap something together, like we're not going to call them on it. And quite honestly, that's my favorite part of the job. I get to go out there and give them a rude awakening. And again, empowerment.
That's awesome.
Empowerment.
Yep.
And that's what definitely. I preach to the younger communities. Because quick story is, I shared this on another call. There was one job site where a superintendent saw a plane flying in the sky. And he grabbed me on my shoulder and tapped on my shoulder and says, "Are you and your chief going to start shooting bows and arrows at it?" And this is like a year ago or some change, like that type of mentality exists. And Gila River is a rather large community surrounded by major jurisdictions. I can't imagine some of the things that happen to some of the more rural, more isolated communities who don't have the economic resources that we do and may have a more contentious relationship with the surrounding cities around them. It's a very real thing, and that's why I'm passionate about it, because at the root of it, again, is empowerment. I get to tell you, I get to enforce and make sure that my community gets something that we paid for. And not only that, when you leave Gila River, we're going to strive to make an impression that we are the most knowledgeable and technical and professional. That next time you come to Gila River, you realize that we set a standard.
That's fantastic. Yeah, and that's how you got to do it. I greatly, and I see Chris applauding you as well. That's fantastic. My second thought, more just a comment, but kind of want to get your thoughts on it too, is would it help you guys out if ICC, and we do have a few board of directors on here, if there was something where ICC kind of explored I guess primitive housing a little bit more, maybe throw a look at adding an appendix to the IRC or something like that deals with some of those, and not just for you guys. I'm thinking I'm up in Wisconsin here, and we have some larger Amish populations up here too, who same thing, no running water, no electricity, and so Wisconsin, we've come up with a bunch of rules that kind of go to those types of facilities, but I don't know, or do you prefer it just of a here's the code and we're going to kind of waive things as it seems appropriate to us for our location? I guess do you have a preference on how you would rather see that handled?
In my opinion, the latter is probably best. Is that it's and that's kind of why the reason why I wanted to present in this manner. I debated about it, PowerPoints and things of that nature, and I feel that's the cultural difference maybe that I want to kind of practice. But it's about talking to the communities, like especially Native American communities. It's about communication. It's about talk. It's about face to face. And trying to get too technical right off the bat, I think will hinder the code adoption process for someone new into it. On a larger scale, I know this is a conversation that ICC's had with the tiny home movement. Right. It's similar to the struggles with substandard housing, converting sheds into livable spaces. I think as far as outreach, the thing is to spread the word. I remember in one of the last Las Vegas, I think it was Educode. I made a point that time. Usually I go to a training and you just sit in the back, you hear it, you pick up a thing or two, you get your CEUs. I made a point to wear my GRIC logo t-shirt. I made a point to go out there and represent Gila River Indian community. I made a point to go out there and be a Native American voice. And you know what? Native Americans came up to me. They were so interested in how I got there that ICC was interested in empowering Native American communities. I think I brought one individual to Mr. Sayers. He was so excited that that this was possible, and that, that Native Americans can have a voice because they've been stepped on. And he was sharing stories about it too. And I said, well, there's a board of directors member right there. You want to talk to him? And I made that quick introduction. I don't know if Mr. Sayers remembers, but that meant so much to him. And that goes to that people point of view, that we need to get back to the normal and increase our outreach so that we can find that audience, because we still don't know who is the code official that's Native American or what their struggles are. We're still in the dark, and that's what we're all about.
Thanks for your comments.
Mike Metcalf, you have a hand up.
Yes, I do. I was gonna just sit back and listen and not say anything, but David, you struck a kind of a kindred spirit with me in something that you said. My jurisdiction is a 70-mile long parish, and the dynamics of I guess you say household income and how people live just ranges about drastically from one end of the parish to the next, as you see anywhere in the country, I guess. And the northern parishes, we're parishes, of course, not counties. And the north part of the parish is kind of a continuation of Jefferson Parish, which is kind of a middle class parish with a higher income and a higher quality of living, standard of living. The north part of our parish is gated communities with upwards to $1.2 million homes that I write permits for. As you go down the parish, the way of life changes drastically, historically and otherwise. And you get into some areas where you have fishermen and farmers and cattlemen. Believe it or not, we even have a tribal community in the area out on Grand Bayou Village. And these people have a much more humble way of living. And of course, the income isn't gated community by any stretch of the means. And I just had to chime in when you said the favorite part of your job is also kind of the favorite part of my job is when I get a contractor that goes 50 or 60 miles down the road, and I have had contractors, licensed contractors that know better, that will start renovations on commercial jobs without state fire marshal approval, no permit from me, not even a phone call. I've had people begin new home starts down there without me even knowing about it. And it's all taking advantage of, these folks down in the sticks. They don't have any kind of standard or I don't know what in the heck. I don't even know if a lot of people think Belchase, which is a community. We don't have any incorporated areas in our parish. We're completely unincorporated. We're both sides of the Mississippi River. And Belchase, which is the largest community in the north end with the gated communities, the more affluent area. I think a lot of contractors think that's a city. And once they get out of an incorporated area, man, they got the bull by the horn. They can go do whatever they want. They can save a ton of money and hassle on the permits department. And one of my favorite, I'm with you, brother, because one of my favorite parts of my job is going down out there and setting these folks straight. And to see what some of these guys are doing that passes as code work for a lower income person is very satisfying when you get them back on the tracks. So I really, really feel you in that regard. And I just had to chime in. So you keep at it. You're doing great, man. And so will I, at least for another 3 months anyway.
Good stuff, Mike. Good stuff. And that's one of the wonderful things that I think we'll see a common thread in here when we all do a little soul searching or a little experience checking and memories of our time here working. We all have so very much in common once we start thinking about our benefit and our value in our communities. It's an understated thing. And I want to tell you, David, that when you get out of ELMC and migrate up to BMC, your impact on our group, which I know you're dying to join, on the Raise the Profile effort is going to be substantial. because you've said things over and over again, and these guys have reinforced it, that what you are doing, you're putting a face on building safety. And it doesn't have to be your profile, your actual human face. What it is a face that shows the impact of what you do as a code professional in your community. There's no better calling, and there's no better way to mark service in a community than to make sure that people have safe places to live, work, and grow. I can't help but applaud you 100%. And yes, we're running over, and that's okay. But I just a second, if y'all will indulge me. He's talked about trust in his comments. He's talked about culture in his comments. He's talked about building opportunities to provide diversity in our profession where we can actually look like the communities we serve. He's talked about the value of tradition and bringing tradition into the changes of the code as we go through and progress in building safety. He's talked about bringing people in with no experience. That means there's a valuable lesson there. He's learned that it's easier to teach code than it is to build character and change attitudes. And that's what we all have to look for in these people that we invite into our profession, into our life. I'm telling you, and it's a sign that sits right there on my door. It says, we go out, we do not just make inspections, we make a difference. And you're a great example of it. And I think everybody here applauds you. And right now, we all just wish we were you, David, because we all serve because we love being a good servant in our communities, and you're exemplifying it. So we're you. And having said that, I want to remind everybody, check out that video, A Day in the Field with the Gila River Indian Community Building Inspectors. But last, in this part of it, David, I want you to have the last word and let the rest of us hush.
This presentation really kind of rattled my brain on how to present, because I don't really know how to convey what I'm doing. PowerPoint, video, talking points. It was a struggle to figure out how to convey this message. And what I keep coming back to in my mind is just remembering why I like this profession and how much of an impact it is doing this service for my community, my Native American community. And that's what I want everyone to remember, is that just remember day one. Remember day one when we were able to find that code violation and kind of remember, like, I got it. I found it. I got it. I got it. They're correcting it, and they're going to make a better product. And it's that game, is what I kind of call it in my mind, that makes you strive to continually excel, succeed, learn, and improve yourself. And as far as outreach to Native American communities, it's about empowerment. It really is. It's really about a voice. Everything else will come. Everything else will come with time. Everything else will come with evolution. But empower your voice. Empower your position. Adopt a code.
I hear you, David. Thank you for letting us intrude on your time, and thank you for spending time with us. Stick with us the rest of the meeting. Please do.
Yes, sir.
We enjoy having you on here, and I was serious about whenever your time up with the ELMC that you're going to be joining BMC, because I'm going to bug you to death even after I'm gone if you don't. Okay. And I want everybody here, not just David, to be aware of the issues we all face when we try to bring something new that's good for our community, that we have faith and trust and we know is better, to a group that might not be as sure about it as we are. That we become that face, we become that link to having a better, safer, more productive community. It's a great big burden, but gosh, isn't it a wonderful opportunity to serve? And David, you made my day. I can't thank you enough for being here. You let us know what BMC can do for you. And when you run across things that you think are important in your learning and your growing experience, not just for you, but your community and your people that work with you, the people you're training, let us know, because that's going to become part of our raise the profile mantra. And we're going to push that stuff out so that other communities have it easier than you're having it right now. They don't have to go to ground zero to start building. They can start at 3 on a scale of 10 and build up, or 5 on a scale of 10 and build up. So what you're doing benefits all of us and all of them and all the people we serve. Again, I got no more words. I think it was fantastic, and I appreciate you being here, man. Just, yeah, you got it, Ed. That's it right there. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Anything else? Anybody else want a parting thought for David?
Yes, Dan, if I may. Jim Sayers. You know, David, I just can't help but be in admiration for the things that you're getting accomplished. And here's why. The reason is that once you've worked with someone, having been around you and understand your temperament and your way of communication, the next time somebody comes back, they're going to have that much better relationship with you. And I think it's just going to build and build and build. And one thing I would want to challenge you with is other people in your communities that are in code enforcement and building safety. Really encourage them to get involved in something. Don't care what it is, if it's ELMC, if it's the Vmc, if it's a local chapter, whatever it is, be that encourager. And you probably already are, and I'm just talking to the choir, but anyway, this group here of the Building Membership Council, I consider leaders. And I consider you right in there with them. So that's just wanted to get that out.
Thank you, sir. Will do.
Thanks, Director Sayers. Appreciate it. Really appreciate it. And again, David, thank you, and hang around for the rest of it. We're going to fly through it, and I know we took some extra time there, but guys, you all going to admit it's worth it. I want to cover a item in old business, since we're sort of there anyway with this. We've decided that in each of our BMC meetings, we're going to ask for a guest speaker. Somebody has a unique perspective in code enforcement, somebody that has a unique program that is benefiting our industry. And that can be not just construction and trades and inspection, but design. Anything we have to touch, we influence. And so let's let not only our members speak, but let's let our partners speak also. We're constantly going to be looking for people who will come in and spend 20 or 30 minutes with us talking about what they do that has a good impact on building safety. And it takes all of us as a team, all of us as partners, all of us as valued peers to make that happen. And so I encourage everybody on this call to sort of reach out as you're having conversations, say, who would be a good person to come in and talk to BMC? Who can BMC help share good ideas, good programs with their membership and with all of the other people who call in? And so I'm looking for your suggestions. Please don't hesitate to do that, and give me a call and let me know who these people are that you think would be of value to us. And so I'll take that one off the books from old business. And with that said, I'll move on. Again, thank you, David. Appreciate you, man. Item 5 is approval of the meeting minutes from our April 14th, 2021 meeting. And I'm sure that all of you have had time to read those. They were attached to the initial email notifying you of this event. Do I have any changes to those April 14th minutes? Hearing nothing, I'm asking for a motion to approve.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
This is Amrinder. I'll second.
Okay. Motion Ed Lisinski, second Amrinder Singh. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Hearing none, seeing no hands raised, I will call those minutes approved. Now we'll move to number 6, our action items updates. I have already covered the first one. So we will go on to number 2. And Ed, I'm going to let you take this one and run with it.
Yep, no problem. Thanks, Dan. And well, unfortunately, we don't have Mark Matheny. I know he's the fastest talker out of the group, but I'll try my best to channel my inner Mark Matheny here and keep this all going. So we do have the initiative matrix. Bill just posted that up on the screen. It's also very easy to find on the VMC website. Thanks to everybody who has been updating this. We do have that initial section that still looks a little anemic as you're kind of looking at it there with that's our joint collaboration. So out of our liaisons out there, please, definitely get back into there, update that front section with the joint collaboration items. And then also keep, monthly, every other month, something like that. Get into that matrix again. See if everything in there is still active, especially after one of the other membership council meetings. While it's still fresh in your mind, jump back into here, update anything that might need updating, and keep that document as fresh and up to date as we can, because people are using this. I'll touch on it right here. We did, Dan and Bill and I, we did submit the Vmc Mid-Year Report a couple weeks ago. I think Director Sayers mentioned the board of directors are going to be reviewing, or they're meeting in person in a couple weeks, and that's on the agenda for that. And what we pretty much did this year was we just sort of took just sort of a quick overview, about a 1-page overview of the BMC, just our missions and goals and objectives, and gave a quick little recap of the 3 different subcommittee groups that we have and how they all work together. So it's really just sort of an overview of the BMC, but then we posted a copy of this matrix with it. So again, the board of directors is going to be reviewing this. They're going to be looking at it, and it's a great, quick, flashcard type way for them to see what everybody's been working on. And so, same thing, not just if you're a liaison, get in there, but also if you're working on something on one of our subcommittees, make sure that you're getting into there and keeping that stuff all up to date as best as you can. And I think that's it for the matrix. I'll do the rest of my stuff during the continuity and outreach report.
Appreciate it, Ed. Many thanks. And again, we want to remind somebody, this matrix is not an item owned by the BMC. This is a tool for all of the membership councils to keep score. And that's what I want us to do. I want us to be able to rate our achievements. I want us to know what one another are doing and why. And that gives us more opportunities to contribute, to communicate, and to share ideas. And the more people that you have on the same play, running the same play, working the same goal together, the more likely your chances of success, especially since time and distance separate us so much. So this is critically important, I think, to the success of all of us as a tool for partnering between and communicating between building membership councils and all the other membership councils in major jurisdictions. It's a great tool. I love it, and I'm thank you, Ed, for spearheading it. And Bill, are we going to have a link to that up in the chat?
Yeah, yep, Dan, it is. It should be in the chat as we speak, as is the link to the video that you referred to earlier for David's presentation. But yes, definitely the link to the matrix is in there in the chat as well.
Great. So if any of you want to go and get it, you know where to find it, and we'll do that consistently, just as a way to reinforce the opportunity for use by everybody. Moving on to the subcommittee reports. Mark Matheny, who is our chair of the Community Building Best Practices and Innovation, left for a well-deserved vacation. He's going hiking and camping. For those of you that don't know Mark, join him on Facebook. He had a hilarious picture where he was hiking the other day, and he was turned Britney Spears for a moment, pulled his camera out and took a selfie. And what he did not realize that he's framed in behind by some beautiful rock outcroppings and a little waterfall and a pool. And there, sitting on the rocks on the other side of the pool, is a little brown bear. He had no idea it was in the picture. And so anyway, follow Mark for more fun adventures, and hope he comes back not shredded to pieces because he got in the way of a mom and her cub. But for CBBPI, just to let everybody know, the best practices document that he's working on with IAS and major jurisdictions is still a work in progress. It's a big project, and they're putting a lot of hours into it, a lot of good thought into it, and it'll be right when it comes out. If you are a subcommittee member of CBBPI, or if you serve one of the task groups, we are still doing the membership roster. And if you did not get a call from Mark last week or an email, be ready. He will be calling you or emailing you next week. Okay. The task group spreadsheets, he emailed all of them out 2 weeks ago, and they're partially filled out with who's doing what, who's going to serve what purpose, who's going to fill what roles on our upcoming year. And he wants to thank you for your patience. He knows that COVID has been hard on y'all and on us and on everybody, but we've done some great work during COVID. We're going to do even more good work after, and some of the things that we laid the bedrock, the groundwork, the foundation for during COVID are now getting ready to come alive, and over the next couple of years, we're going to make them good realities. And I want to remind everybody the next meeting date for CBBPI is August the 18th. Now, we're going to be working hard prior to that, and Mark's going to make sure of it, but August 18th, we'll have a meeting, and then we'll all get to share what we did together and individually in support of the team. And that's all I have for that one. Ed?
You'd think by now I'd know to take myself off of mute before I start talking, but yeah, next up we got Raise the Profile, and Steve Nordhus couldn't make it, but we did have a meeting a couple weeks ago on that. Not too much to report, but a couple good things coming out of there. We do have some of the letters that are pretty much done. The welcome letters, and Dan and I have been using those whenever we do get new BMC GC members, just kind of letting them know, who we are, what we're all about, kind of a welcome to the club, and here's our subcommittees. So if you're interested in helping us out somewhere, let us know where you want to join, and we'll get you going on that. But I don't know if we do have 3 teams on there, and Amrinder, Chris McWhite, and Matt Archer are the 3 team leads on those. Guys, do you have anything that you guys wanted to update from each of your teams on there?
Hi, this is Amrinder. I can quickly share an update, and also I needed some guidance as well from the BMC regarding how we should proceed. So with the letters, we were working on 2 different items. One is the proclamations that we were going to issue to departments to recognize them for all they do for their individual communities. So those proclamations, we have 2 versions of it. That is completed. The only thing, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago at the subcommittee meeting, was we need guidance regarding how someone can, at this point, apply for this proclamation, whether we would have some type of form or whether they would email the chair and vice chair directly. So we needed to find out how we can go about start issuing these proclamations. And regarding the individual letters to recognize them for, obtaining a distinguished certification, whether it's the CBO or the permit tech or master code professional, those we are still working on, and I am working on setting up a meeting with the subcommittee members and the team members who wish to work on those letters. That way we can kind of button up. I believe there was a draft that was submitted, and I just want to make sure we clean up everything. That way we can get it before all of you. And that way we can start, issuing those letters as well. But regarding the proclamations, those are ready to go. We just need some guidance regarding how we can go about starting, to start issuing them.
Ed, what's the chances? Next week for me is going to be pretty much out because I'm facing a whole lot of busy issues next week.
Boxing your stuff up. Yep.
Yeah. What about a week after next? Is there a chance that you and I and Amrinder and maybe Christopher too, if you wanted to get in on that, we could all, and Matt, and we'll invite Steve, just a quick, maybe 1 hour meeting sometime week after next. If you guys will email me some of your availabilities, we'll see if we can make this happen, and we'll cover several of these and get them put to bed. And that way, maybe we'll have some of these solved, and going into the annual business meeting, be able to sort of present and share what we got, what we're doing, why we're doing it, and allow people the opportunity to take advantage of it.
Yep. Sounds perfect.
Is that okay, Christopher, Amrinder?
Sounds good. Yes, sir.
I like that. Absolutely.
Okay, we'll make that happen. Just email me your availabilities, and I will, or probably your unavailabilities would be better, and I'll try to work out something that puts us all on a phone call at the same time. Bill might need your help from that too, because I'll be working with a new system on a different email.
That's fine. Yeah, you can email me, and we'll I'll work with you on that as well.
Thank you. Okay, keep going, Ed. You're doing marvelous.
Yep. Well, Chris, you're unmuted. Do you want to jump in there for a little update?
Oh, great, because I unmuted. Now I'm in trouble.
Yep.
Oh man. Well, I would like to, I am excited to let y'all know that some of these contacts are finally starting to work out with the scouting movement initiative we have. I was able to get in contact with regional directors with Girl Scouts of America, and they are working to locate and identify appropriate Girl Scout troops locally that we can start this program going. And I will be meeting with 2 Boy Scout troops locally, one tomorrow actually, and another one hopefully not too long after that. And we're going to start the conversation around things that they are already familiar with, the Safety Merit Badge. And so between Safety 2.0 and the Safety Merit Badge, that'll be at least the first opening salvo, if you will, to let them see how we actually can work together for what ICC is doing. And also what Scouting is already doing, and to build again upon what Mr. Jackson said, representing the Gila Nation over there, Gila River Nation. What we've got going here is youth. They are focusing on younger people within that nation to be brought into building code inspections and code enforcement. Scouting is exactly that very thing. They're already young. Obviously, you can't be inside of it outside 18, or 21 if you're adventure scouting. And since it's already built around sustainability, it's already built around fire safety. Those are 2 key things that we talk about right now. So I'm going to make sure we bring that to their attention. And I'm going to parlay that to talking with the local scouting executives and work it up the food chain.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. Matt Archer, any little updates from your team?
Yes. Sorry, I'm still putting together an email list to get everybody together. We're going to have a online meeting coming up before we all gather in where are we gathering? I keep wanting to say Philadelphia. I don't think that's it.
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. Oh, geez. So we will have that all outlined, and I'll have a much better update then. Obviously, Building Safety Month is behind us. Ron gives some of the best updates to that. That's an incredibly impossible act to follow, so thank you, Ron. And Robin is doing amazing work with school outreach, so I'll have more of an update for that as well.
All right, thanks, Matt. And actually, I think we do have the scholarship, what Robin Yoakum was able to put together in her little team there on the scholarships. I think that's coming up later on in the agenda, so we will touch base on that then. So, all right, thanks, guys. We'll jump on to the continuity and outreach. I don't really have too much of an update for that right now, other than, we already touched on the matrix. There is at the ABM, which is in Pittsburgh, so don't go to Philadelphia, Matt. On the Saturday, we're going to meet as a group on Sunday morning, but Saturday from 3 to 5, we do have a room reserved for the continuity and outreach committee meeting. And what we're going to do there is it's going to be kind of just a light, not really much of an agenda, but more of just a kind of a meet and greet, get all the different membership councils together. We can discuss a few common issues. We might have a few things that we'll cover, but it's really, it's not going to be real formal of, like I said, like not like a set agenda, but it's just going to sort of be, maybe a little bit more of like a round table. So people can sort of show up as they're arriving in Pittsburgh. So don't worry about, if your flight doesn't get in until 3 o'clock, that you're going to be late. Just show up whenever you can. And I know, well, I think Bill might touch later on about maybe some dinner plans for that night. But from 3 to 5 on that Saturday, there is a continuity and outreach meeting. Everybody on all the different membership councils is invited. And then the only other thing that I wanted to mention too is CNO is we are going to be looking for a new liaison to the Emerging Leaders Membership Council, to the ELMC. So if anybody on here is interested in that, it basically comprises of attending those ELMC meetings and then coming to the CNO meetings and kind of reporting back on what they're working on and again, updating the matrix. So if anybody's interested in that, please, shoot me an email or give me a call. If you have questions about it, you want to know how much more of a time commitment it is, just give me a call. But, we do need a liaison to the ELMC. If we don't get anybody now that steps up, I'll probably wait until after the ABM. We'll see how the board of the GC membership plays out after our elections, and then see who might be interested again. So if nobody steps up now, you guys will be hearing from me again after the ABM, hitting me up, and I'll volunteer somebody at that point to take over. So
Ed, just to be clear, that's a BMC member liaison. So somebody from the BMC liaise to the ELMC, right?
Yes, to the ELMC.
Member,
yeah.
yes.
So one of the people who are here on this meeting from the BMC GC,
right,
who would be a liaison then to the Emerging Leaders Membership Council. Thanks, Bill. And that's all I got, Mr. Chair.
All right, thanks, Ed. Appreciate it. Moving on, we're going to old business, and item 1, I'm not going to spend hardly any time on it all, but it's a charter change proposal. It is no proposal no longer. The ICC Board of Directors have voted on it and approved it, and it is a tool that recommends that if you can't attend the building membership council meetings and can't serve at this time, you need to remove yourself from the BMC. And that's not a disqualification from future service, but I know we're all busy. I know that we all are stressed at many times, and I know that we all look upon it as a privilege and an honor to serve the BMC, the GC, and our peers. And if we can't do that job now, it's a way for us to say, I can't do it, I can't attend, I want out, you can replace me, but keep me in consideration for the future. This is not a punitive measure. It's a measure that just simply says, if you can't serve, take some time off, take care of yourself, get right, stay in communication with us. But you can come back later, no harm, no foul. We love you, we want you, we need you, but we also want you to be active. Go ahead, Mike.
Dan, okay, make sure I'm unmuted here. I got to follow Ed's lead on that one. I just wanted to say kudos to you, Dan. I know that I have, as you guys know, I have pretty strong feelings about this too. I've always thought that it was just common sense, and I know at times though that Dan, it probably wasn't the most popular thing in the world, even though it seemed like it was just common sense to me personally, and I know not everybody feels that way, but I think it is it's credit to you and your leadership, Dan, for going forward with that and getting it done, and just kudos to you for strong leadership.
Well, I appreciate that, Mike, but really, you know, when we do something like this, this takes a majority or 2/3 of our GC membership to support it. And so I can't help but turn that right around and thank the GC membership themselves for supporting this and allowing us to take it and move it to the board. And also I can't miss an opportunity to thank people for talking to one another about it. And I hope that we all in this conversation with, hey, just because it didn't work out for me this time doesn't mean I can't come back and do it again when I can serve better. I have more time and I can make it work for me and my peers, the people I value that serve with me. And that's the gist of it right there. Okay, active membership council calendar on ICC website. Bill, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, no, there's really nothing to update, just to let everyone know that it is an active calendar, and all BMC and membership council events have been posted there as far as I can tell. If they're not, please let not only me know, but let your staff liaison know. But because I know that was been an idea in the past that we need to be consistent with when our meetings are. So far so good, though, it looks like.
Good deal. I think the opportunity for all of us to know what everybody else is doing throughout the membership councils makes it easier for attendance at meetings. It makes it easier for us to cooperate and communicate. And so it's a good thing. Moving on to 4, joint meetings. The homelessness issue, which we know is horrible, and I apologize that we have not been able to lead any constructive effort right now after major jurisdictions doing such a fantastic job with their white paper, but it just has not worked out timing wise. This is not going to go away, people. This is going to be something that we recruit for, that we work out ways to get these ideas out and provide templates for communities all across the United States to use to help combat homelessness and help people get a leg up, a handout when they need it. And when I say a handout, I don't mean giving somebody something. I mean outstretch it, as in you're going to shake hands with them. You know, they say the only time to look down on somebody is when you're reaching down to help them get back up on their feet. And that's true 100% of everything we do and every action we ought to take in support of all the people in our community. So this is an important thing for me, and I'm certainly not willing to let it die. And I know nobody else on the BMC, GC, or our board is, and it's going to happen. It's just going to take a little longer. And Ed, if it's all right with you, I'll go ahead and cover number 3 and come back to you for 2. The ICC Board of Directors candidate forum, it's just too late in the year to get that going. We've had too many challenges coming out of COVID to communicate a good platform to make that work. Again, that's not one that's going to die either. I'm going to make a special effort to see if we can get started on something on that earlier, not because we want to push any candidate, but because we know that our members, that our peers, all of us people who are building safety professionals look at our board of directors, and I'm going to blow a little smoke up your skirts, guys, if that's okay for just a second. All of our peers look at your service, look at your careers, look at your faces, and we say, those are people that we want to emulate. Those are people who have really reached almost a capstone in a career. It's a marvelous thing. And we want to know what you saw in your career and in your goals that made you want to get there. And we hope that those questions center around those things, because we're going to get those nuggets back from you that tell us, hey, if you had done this, you would have been more lucky in your service to community. If you had done this, you'd have had an opportunity that you otherwise didn't have. I'm from North Carolina, guys, board guys. It's not an ICC state. Had it not been for Vaughn Wicker coming to me and saying, hey, you need to take this thing you're talking about and move it up a level, I would never have known about the Building Membership Council. How fortunate am I to have then engaged with professionals like y'all and found out more and learned more. It's a good thing. Go ahead, Mike.
My pinnacle is just paying attention to Dan Dockery. Just want to let you guys know that.
Well, Mike, they always say if you set low goals, you're more likely to meet them. So anyway, so guys, know that this candidate forum is coming back, and know that this is not a campaign event. This is a educational, an enrichment event that I think will serve our members well, because it'll give them insight into how to do things the right way, the professional way, the respected way, and navigating a variety of topics over a variety of codes in a huge number of locations is something that's challenging no matter what you do and where you do it. And I think that so many of our members, and certainly our board, we do it very, very well. And so you got nothing but my utmost admiration and respect. And I hope that you will indulge me when I get started on this next year to try to make this happen. And with that, I will hush and just thank you for thank you for my future hindrances on y'all. Okay. Orientation for all new membership council, major jurisdiction committee members, recognition proclamations, develop or assigned to a team or a subcommittee. This is going to be a raise the profile effort, and it's going to tell us how to do what we do better on the council level. And it's, again, what we fail to do so many times is we come up with great ideas and we don't document them, we don't put them in writing, we don't provide templates for them that we can push out into our community of peers. And so that's the goal with that item, is to document how to get where you're going. It's to provide a roadmap. And in the absence of us being able to meet up like this all the time, especially in the smaller communities where a lot of times we're more pressed because of travel distances, because of lack of staffing, these templates are going to become very important. And I look at that as being one of the hallmarks of Raise the Profile. Not only will we encourage you in how to make a difference in your community, we'll do things that tell you how to do it, and we'll put them down in paper and you can read them, and then people who you answer to in your communities will understand what you do better. And believe me, once they understand it, they'll recognize the value that you hold in your community when you do your job. New business. Number 9, BSM scholarships. That's the first template. And this is the one that Ed was talking about, Robin Yoakum working on. Guys, this is something that we hope over the next couple of years to try to roll into Building Safety Month. A lot of chapters and a lot of charter organizations for code enforcement across the United States offer scholarships. Sometimes they're to their own kids of their own members. Sometimes they're just for, they're just for people. But we're going to try and encourage these chapters, and in my case, the Building Inspector Association, North Carolina. What we will do, we will offer next year a Building Safety Month scholarship, okay? And this template shows it's step by step how you enter the scholarship, how you possibly win the scholarship. It will go into how to contact your guidance counselor's office, your career staff, to get it noted on the scholarship sheets that they send out. It will have a template providing proper communications and different administration levels within the superintendent's offices for schools and who to contact. All of this stuff will be in writing. You don't have to do the homework. You just have to find the phone numbers in your community, and then you tell them the value of your scholarship. It even has a template on how you can go to Senior Day when they're awarding scholarships, and on behalf of, let's just say I'm going to use North Carolina. It's going to thrill me next year in May when they have Senior Day at the Forsyth County School System, because I'm going to get to walk up on stage, and it might not be there, it could be anywhere in the state. And at Senior Day, I'm going to get to call somebody up because they wrote an essay that was the best one, that told how important code development and public service is to their community. and I'm going to hand that person a scholarship check in front of their peers, their parents, and everybody else, and let them get applause for doing that. And then I'll be able to share that with the next year's group coming in. And the whole thing, again, is to raise awareness of what we want to do, why, and how we do it. But the template is the thing. Everybody doesn't have to start from scratch. They have step 1, 2, 3. I think there are 13 steps in here with 6 or 7 subsets under it, and each one of them is critical. I'm going to go on because we're running out of time. Man, I'm sorry. ESR reports. I'm not going to stay on this for long, but we have a lot of conversation on Facebook and social media and everywhere else about ESR reports and some people's dissatisfaction for it, some people's love for them. I'm telling all of us as members of the building safety community, ESR reports are only going to be as good as we make them by using them. If people know that they have a valuable substitute that can be used and it's easier, it's better, and it works, guess what? If we go on a job site and we are knowledgeable about that substitution, we're at fault for not telling them to look it up in ESR reports. We own that job site when we get to it, and we are the professional on that job site. The knowledge, the experience we bring to that job site means better opportunities for the builder, for the inspector, and for the person that's going to own that home or that business. So ESR reports are a valuable thing. I use them all the time. I encourage everybody else to. Let's make it a goal of ours to bring them out in a more favorable light. And again, I know there are some qualms about them right now, but the only way you take care of those qualms is to educate ourselves about them and put them into use. Go ahead, Ed.
Yeah, I just wanted to add on to your comments with the ESR reports. As chair of continuity and outreach, I would be remiss if I didn't bring up that last month the Fire Service Membership Council, they actually had Director Angie Weesey come in and do a little presentation on ESR reports. So you can go to the ICC YouTube page, and if anybody's got 20 minutes, wants to know a little bit more about ESR reports, you can watch that quick little presentation that she had and some of that follow up. And yeah, just wanted to let everybody know, if you weren't aware of it, that's out there and a great resource to learn a little bit more of the basics of ESR reports.
Thanks. I appreciate that. And again, thanks for jogging my memory about Director Weesey coming on. That was a good thing and much appreciated, I know. The annual business meeting, governing committee nominations and elections. The only thing I want to say right now is if you want to be on the BMC GC and you're listening to this call, you have to get your application in by July the 6th. Okay. We'll be having the nominations elections at the ABM in Pittsburgh in September, but the application has to be in by July the 6th. I encourage you to seek membership. And if you don't get on the GC this time, I encourage you to then turn around and say, well, I didn't get on the the BMC GC, but I want to be helpful, because we're going to put you on a task group or a subcommittee and we're going to let you serve. And that's the way we grow ourselves, and that's the way we grow our team, and that's the way we make things better. And so anyway, anything else I need to put in on that, Ed?
Well, I guess, yeah, I guess probably the main thing, we do have 4 people who are up for renewal. I think it's myself, Christopher McWhite, Matt Archer, and Bill, who's the 4th?
Mark Matheny.
Mark Matheny. So yeah, so the 4 of us, I have my application in already. The other 3 of you, if you want to serve again for a second term, get your applications in. And do we want to talk about the potential openings on the?
We'll probably have 3 vacancies.
Right.
And so that's I hate it, but Mike Nugent moved on to BCAC, I think, and he's looked at that for a long time. It's where his heart is. And, we were excited for him to have that opportunity, and I know he'll do well there. And we've had 2 people that by our best accounts, one for sure, and the other one in all probability have left the service of their municipal jurisdiction and have not found another job. And so they probably will not be on our GC. And we will look for people to fill those positions, and we'll look for good candidates. And I hope we have a lot more applications than we have spots, because those applications are also contacts for us too. And that means that somebody wants to serve. Never deprive somebody of an opportunity to serve at any level. And so thanks, Ed. And moving on, members' time. And guys, we've got to be brief. We're 12 minutes over our allotted time right now, but I'm looking for our members to be able to talk if they want to. And I would guess that our members are just as eager to get off here as anybody else would be after going this long over schedule. The meeting schedule, item 11, is on our agenda. I will not go through it. You can read it right there for yourselves. Closing thoughts. Again, David Jackson, there just aren't enough words in the whole of this body here for the BMC to thank you for your dedication to making your community and your people's a better place. And we applaud you. We absolutely love you to death. And if you need us for anything, don't hesitate to reach out, because I guarantee you we are going to be there. And we look forward to working with you. We look forward to hearing good stuff from you and about you. And again, I'm going to put that plug in there again. When you end up on the BMC, we're going to work you to death on Raise the Profile, because you're a great candidate with your attitude, with your work ethic, and with what you're bringing to this business, man. It just, we can't say enough about it. Ed, you got your hand up.
Well, I'll wait till after if David wanted to make any comments there. It's not related to him, so yeah, go ahead, Dave.
No, by all means, thank you, and we'll be in touch.
You are the man. There you go. That's all I can say. Go ahead, Ed.
I was just going to mention again, I was going to bring it up in members' time, but I was waiting to see if anybody else wanted to jump in. But we do have a few people on the call that some new names, some new faces, and stuff like that on the call. So if anybody's out there, these meetings are designed for you. So if this is your first time here, or if it's your 20th time here, if there's something that you want to see, if you want, if there's things that you want us to get into a little bit more or discuss a little bit more, please just reach out to Dan and I, and we'll cater these meetings to whatever the membership wants to hear about and learn about. And we're here for you guys. This is your membership council governing committee, and we're here to work for you and make sure that this hour and a half is valuable for your time. So that's all I had to say. Thanks.
No, I appreciate it. And again, to underscore what Ed just said, when I'm in Winston-Salem, Forsyth County, or North Carolina, that's my community. And I ask the community what they need. And then I try to use all the ordinances, the laws, the strictures, the codes, and everything else to make their efforts successful. Well, when we're in the BMC, our peers are our community. And so our goal then is to ask you what you need and to try to fill that need for you the best way we can. It's all about working together. Mike Savage, Director Savage, I noticed you came in late, and I appreciate you being here. Is there anything you'd like to say before I close out these thoughts? I don't hear anything. He may have stepped away, or maybe multitasking, and that's okay. Guys, I appreciate you. I really, really do. You don't have any idea how much you mean to me. Thanks again for attending this meeting. I look forward to the next meeting. I look forward to seeing everybody in Pittsburgh. Keep on doing what you do. Use one another for examples. Help one another out when one another trips and falls. Pick one another up. Remember, it's not who crosses the finish line first. It's how many of you get to cross the finish line together. That's what makes a team good. That's what makes the project worthwhile. And that's what makes me so proud of all of us. So having said that, that's all I got. I'd love to hear somebody make a motion to adjourn.
This is Amrinder. I'll make the motion.
Mike Metcalf, I'll second.
A motion by Amrinder to adjourn, Mike Metcalf second. I'll bet you $1 that nobody has any opposition. So with that, I won't even say all in favor. Guys, I love you to death. Thank you so much. Y'all have a good weekend, and remember, take a kid fishing. Okay. I'll see y'all.
Thank
God
you.
bless each and every one of you, and we'll see you later.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a good
Thanks,
forest,
Dan.
everybody.